Hey, welcome back to Navigating the Shift. This is Annabelle and Sarah, and it's a beautiful day here in Sydney. Beautiful autumn day. What's your weather like, love?
Beautiful spring day here in California.
Hey.
Just gorgeous. I've been out planting strawberries and I'm very happy
Oh,
about it.
that sounds awesome. That sounds great. Let's look at some of the timely things that have happened over this week. Prince Phillip and his funeral. Now, this is a really interesting one because on the BBC channel on YouTube, they put that up as a live stream coming to you live. And yet on somebody's computer, it came up as live streamed 3 months ago. So
wow.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. And I thought, well, look, it could be a photoshopped image, or it could be a glitch, or it could be absolutely true that they uploaded it ready to go. You know how when you're on YouTube, you can upload something and then you don't actually release it. So that's a possibility. And BBC, I'm sure, has got some sort of agreement with YouTube in showing it as live streamed. But the other thing that was interesting about it was long, like 3 or 4 hours long, and I wasn't going to watch the whole thing. However, I wanted to scrub through to find the family as they were leaving, because it was very odd that they were so separated out, which is very different from, I think, in the UK. I think their restrictions are lowering down now. There is no reason to have everybody so completely separated and leave little Queenie all by herself to make people have pity on her. That's what I got from it.
I always look at things like this as, what messages are they sending? And to me, the message was, the Queen is separate. She's done. She's the next one they're going to announce, that kind of thing. Give her a little pity because there she is mourning her husband. And we know these old people have been together forever, maybe. But I think there was some signaling going on there.
Yeah, it's a good excuse now to have her die of a broken heart. It's another way to remove
Bingo.
Because you're going to have to find some different excuses for each one, I think. But the live stream idea was also funny, because as I got to this point, and I'll show you where the time is, I don't know if it'll always stay there, because you can still edit videos when you own them. You can still go back in after they've been live streamed or published, and you can edit bits out. But this bit is in there at the moment, and I'll put the time signature down in the description, that if you go there and have a look of the family leaving, that Princess Anne leaves twice. She comes forward to the front and she does a bow to the altar, and her husband's behind her, and then he stops and he just does a head bow, and then they walk out, and then there's another shot, and then they come back to that shot, and the narrator says exactly the same thing. So somebody put an editing glitch in there which shows it was certainly not live streamed. Definitely not. You cannot say that that is a broadcasting glitch. It's an editing glitch.
Right. I haven't seen if anybody was actually where they're supposedly were traveling in their motorcades and stuff. I mean, it was so limited. They didn't allow people to watch like they normally would their motorcade. And only a few media professionals were allowed to film the people walking along and driving their cars and stuff. So
few select people, no doubt.
Select, indeed. Yeah.
So 3 months actually feels right to me. Feels very right. It feels like it was set up in a time when there were more restrictions. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah.
Makes sense. That rings yes in my truth meter there.
Okay. Then the George Floyd trial happened, and all the way through this, my intuition's going, no. So you can see by this photograph here that the guy that they're using as Derek Chauvin is the same guy that they took a mugshot of after the arrest of the supposed policeman. And yes, he's a totally different person from the one who was kneeling on the neck. Totally different shaped head, different face. So he's still, so they're using the same actor for that. But I understand why that needs to go through, that you've got to run through this trial, which means nothing, and find him guilty just to get these protesters off the streets, because they are just waiting. They're just dying for the excuse to go and destroy the cities.
But they're not getting off the streets. They're still doing their thing. It's brilliant. They give them what they want, and they're still protesting and burning things and screaming, it's not enough. You've got the usual players of Pelosi and AOC. Gosh, who else? Oh, Biden, Kamala, all of them saying, this is not the definitive thing, we need to do more. We need to get more done against systemic racism. And this is just the very beginning. And I think it's a brilliant way to wake people up. It's like, oh no, they got everything what they want. And they're still burning the streets down. Hello. I think a lot of people are going to go, things that make you say,
You look like your dog. Like when you do that, you could do.
She's got it under right.
And then there's Ivanka Trump as well with her vaccination. What did you think of that?
Messaging, I mean, she's supposed to be in the CVS, and they look like, they set it up pretty well for that, because they left the back open a little so you could see into the store even, and they had the catalog. Somebody said that if you know how to, the code on the envelope in front of her, you can follow that, and with a couple of links or something, it leads to a 17 post. So it could have been that. But then when Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, came out and he announced that he was launching Frank Speech, his new media platform, and it was going to be the message heard around the world. And I was thinking, okay, so the quote, which has been in 17 stops 4 times, I think I read, if it was the shot heard around the world, maybe that was it. And she says, I hope you all get it too. So I was hoping there was going to be some kind of great message there they hope everybody gets in Mike Lindell's announcement. But then they got DDoS or whatever it was going on. They couldn't start it the way they wanted to. People can't get on. It's just got kind of overwhelmed, which we knew it would, but I wasn't going to watch hours and hours and hours of that.
Yeah, somebody's put it up on Facebook, but 9 hours? I mean, where do you start? There's no table of contents, which would be handy if we want to scrub through and find a particular item of news or somebody that he's interviewing. It's just, I can't do that. So we'll have to just keep looking and see if somebody's actually watched the whole thing and can come up with a bit of a summary for us.
I think a lot of what we're being signaled by the White Hats is things are starting to speed up. We talked about that last week with the crocuses and the post of the jet going through the sonic boom and the big cloud that bursts up behind it and all of that. Yeah. So, things are starting to get faster than the speed of sound, So when I looked at that, I was like, okay, so what are we going to see? We always want to know who's going to be the first arrest. So I think that would be a great question for us to look at when we're done with all of the stuff going on in the world that seems to need talking about.
There was also a very evangelical style speech by Lin Wood. Is he religious? Like, I mean, he talks about God a lot. Okay. He's almost like a preacher. And all the people out there, hands up in the air, they love him. And he's very much, he seems to be passionate, like fiercely passionate about all the 17 stuff and about Trump and all the evil that's been going on in the world and how it's got to be cleaned up. He's so angry about it. It's almost like he must have seen some of the stuff that hasn't been released to us, some of the really disgusting stuff. And so he's really revving his audience up. We'll give you the link. You can have a look at it. It's on Rumble.
Yeah, he has seen stuff. He mentioned it.
Okay.
About evil satanic stuff and so forth. He's a weird guy. I mean, I only knew who he was when he started defending the Covington kid. Mm-hmm. But he's defended a lot of really famous and some questionable cases. And we had this conversation before that there's something that doesn't look real about his face.
It's very still.
Yeah. And then we both looked and we couldn't find any pictures of him younger than he is now.
That's right.
So is he
a role being played? Is he a mask? And there's somebody underneath it. Like we've talked before about, we've had plenty of prompts that we are watching a movie and that people have put out sort of doppelganger kind of pictures or similar things going, well, is this actor playing this role? Is Calvin Klein playing Melinda Gates? Is Anne Wozniak playing Bill Gates? Like all these different characters, are they being played by someone else? Is there going to be a moment where they're going to put everybody up on the screen and go, actually, here we go, and pull off the makeup or the wig, and here they are. This is who, or Jim Carrey playing Biden or whatever. Is that a possibility? And if that's the case, who's playing Linwood? Or John Durham? That was the other interesting one that nobody could find any information. There's like one photograph of him. In
There's
the whole
one photo that you can find of him, and you've never seen him in person walking around. Even Trump said something like, "Is he even real? What happened to the Durham report? Is this guy even real?"
Or is it just some sort of pseudonym or avatar kind of thing, a name that's being used as part of the story? And what's good about doing that is that once the truth starts to come out and people go, like, say, for example, if he is a fictional character, right? And Linwood might be a fictional character. And I don't know if either of these are. I haven't tuned into it to see what the answer would be. But let's just say, for example, they are. That when people start to see there are entire human beings that you think you've seen walking up and down on a stage and you've raved in front of them, and or you think they've done all these things and they do not exist, that's a great introduction for them to understand how much of the story is fiction, how much of it is made up and manipulated to make us go and do stuff because somebody said we should go and do it, you know?
Good one. It's not just deep state things people need to become aware of, politics and all that stuff. There's a lot to this reality that I think is not what we think it is, even if we're pretty spiritual and aware. I know that I've been watching the Schumann resonance, and it's this huge whiteout for like 24 hours. And I was like, yes, let's go. And then the next day I was like,
falling down
12 hours. I can't move, my hips hurt, I'm too tired, you know. But I just said, it's just splash out, you know. We've got this nice rush of what it's going to be like, and still the low frequency stuff has to come out. So I didn't get upset that I couldn't do anything that day. I thought, okay, good, a lot of old stuff is on its way out. And you and I've been looking at it, there've been a lot of really fine vertical lines, which are just like a little flash in time of a high frequency, like every half hour or something, just consistently across the form. And we looked at this and said, oh, it's like if you can put your finger over a flame real fast, it doesn't burn, but it's still making a shift. You know, it's still warming you up a little bit. Well, a little bit, but you know, it's like little bits to let it in, so people don't end up flopped in bed going half the day.
so maybe this is a bit like getting fit. You know, that you get exposure, or like your radiation problems that you'd had before of being hit by it and becoming so sick. That to have like a little burst, and then we go, oh, okay, all right, we can handle that. We're getting stronger. Another burst. Oh, okay, we're getting a bit stronger again. You know, so it's like a way of building our body to accept these very, very high vibrations. Because there was estimates that, like, you know, the average is 7.9 or something hertz, but that the estimate was that it would actually be 150 by the time we move to 5D. That is, you know, we've had spikes up to 60 and 90. I think. I don't know if they've gone over 100. I don't follow it enough.
I think I remember one at 120 once, which is
I think I remember very short too. Like, like amazing jolts. So maybe it's just got to work up very slowly, that you can't just suddenly go, okay, the lights are on, and everyone will be like, oh God, you know, we can't handle that kind of vibration. We do have to build our way up to it. But
it's, you know, we're getting regular little bursts now, just constantly, plus more and more whiteouts happening, some rest, some periods. And my own experience of when it used to be these whiteouts, I'd just be going, I can't sleep, I don't feel good.
Like an electric
this last one was like, like being on steroids or speed or something. Somebody once snuck speed into my drink and I didn't like it. But this last one was like, oh, I feel good. So I had a wonderful, productive day, you know, energy and things weren't hurting. I'm like, this is what we want, you know. So
it sounds like a much better way. That you're coping much better then.
I'm coping much better. Thank you for irradiating me, you guys. I'm really great at the human resonance stuff now. But I think that's what's going on is it's building up, and what's it building up for? There is going to be a tipping point where enough people can handle it that I think there is going to be that event we've been talking about for years and years and never get the timing right. But
it'll only happen when we're ready.
Right. That's it. But I also was looking at this of the Schumann and all this other stuff the other day, and I thought, what is my job now? I came in here like all of us, a spiritual warrior. We knew we were fighting this fight. We got tough. We put on thick skins and armor and everything. And we took the beatings and the radiation, and we just said, nope, you can't take me out. Oh, what is it? Like Monty Python. I'll bite your head off. He's walking around, hopping around on just his torso. I sort of feel like that sometimes. But what I just got was stop focusing on the world so much. Don't decide whether or not we're having success based on what you see in the world. Don't use that as your gauge. Use what's on the inside. And what's important is now the war is over. That spiritual war we came to fight, we won. Just feel that for a minute. We won this huge spiritual war. Take a breath. Woo! The confetti coming down and woo, little horns, balloons and everything. We won. Yeah. And what's our job now? I'm like, well, what's my job now? We said, have fun, be creative, and focus inward, live in the 5D frequency. So many of us are already there, living there, despite the fact that we're surrounded by 3D world. So focus on that. The war's over. We don't have to fight anymore. Kick back, have a margarita, whatever it is that tells you you're celebrating, some champagne or something, whatever. Yeah. A cup of tea for those who prefer that. And it's almost like I thought, well, do we not even to pay attention to anything that goes on in the news anymore? I'm not having very much interest in it. I can tell you that much. It's like, yeah, whatever. So that's one of the questions that I wanted us to look at, which is, it seems like it's all scripted, but how close do they know? Do they really have this looking glass device or a quantum computer that can look into the future 2 years or whatever, and they know already exactly how everything is coming out? Or do they not have it that precisely, or things can shift? Or are they still just going, okay, when this happens, we'll do this maneuver, and they're still waiting on timing? That's what I want to look at. How much of it is really just scripted out because we already know the outcome, and how much of it is there's still stuff going on, not in the spiritual realm and not on the very high end of the bad guys, the middle guys, what I mean? Yeah. So that's
all the rest of us, all the people as well. So even while you're saying that, I'm thinking that we are constantly being told we have won, it's all done, right? You're just watching a movie play out, but everybody is watching the movie. Everybody is reacting to the movie, not necessarily us, but the majority of people are doing that. So they have to direct the movie to play a certain way because they know what the reaction's going to be. We are a highly predictable mob of people, that we'll see something and we'll react to it, and they know exactly what we're going to do. So they know how to direct this movie to get the reactions that they want to lead us to, accountability and information disclosure and all that sort of thing. They know how to do that in the way that's going to cause the least amount of heart attacks and houses being burnt down.
I agree. So that and who's the first, who's like, what's the shot heard around the world? Who's the first big arrest we've heard about? I'm thinking it's going to be something having to do with Corona and the jabs and all that stuff, and Fauci and Bill Gates, because people are turning against Fauci now. It's like we're starting to signal.
Finally, really?
Forever. I mean, I saw a part of who was it? Jim Jordan in the Senate, and Fauci was doing, he says, okay, so you say when we get to herd immunity, then we can stop the mask rules. Well, when will that be? And then, Fauci
Blah, 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 blah,
vacuum, blah, 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 when no, I don't want that. Don't give me your vacuous nonsense. Tell me, what's the number, what's the statistic that'll say to you that this is when this is done and we can stop the mask mandate? And he kept going, blah, blah, blah. No, stop, just do it.
Have an answer.
The question.
Brilliant.
You have to, we want to know when. We want to know some actual facts, statistics, understanding. You can't just lead us on forever.
That's good. It sounds like a great questionnaire. I found an interesting article on the NIH. What is that? National what? Institute of Health, part of the American government, which has a whole lot of stuff about masks. And you can read through it. I'm going to give you the link so you can see the efficacy of masks, psychological effects, long-term sort of implications and all that kind of stuff. And in the conclusion, it's very, very specific about how much problem it's caused physically and emotionally and psychologically, and very strong message. And that's through the NIH. And there are, there are articles back to 2005 when Fauci was director of NIH that support this. So if people knew that, and they'd be going, well, why has he changed his tune? Who's paying him? It's probably the best question to be asking. Don't you realize that he works for the Gates Foundation? Hello? Did you not know that?
And it's been coming out more and more that he funded Wuhan in the gain of function research.
Yeah. Now, gain of function, in case you don't understand what that means, that's about making a superbug. That's about see how strong and massive a virus you can make. Not a virus necessarily. A pathogen is probably a more accurate way of describing it, because we've had plenty of virologists talking about viruses being your body's reaction to being attacked by a pathogen. There's two different things there, right? You have pathogens, which can be bioengineered weapons, or they could be just natural bacteria and things like that. And when your body gets attacked by that, then a virus is what comes about when your body is defending itself.
So like an exosome, a message from a cell, hey, I'm under attack.
Yes.
Warning.
Right, which might cause the symptom of a runny nose or feeling dizzy or a sore tummy and vomiting, or whatever that whatever.
Inflammation, your body heats up in order to make the enzymes more effective, and the enzymes keep the body system running and all of that. Gates and Fauci being arrested, would be
and they, to me, it feels like they've been gone for a while anyway, just the same as the royals. In fact, right near the beginning of COVID, they moved up to Windsor Castle, and I thought, that's it. That's the end. We won't see them again. And then there was a new guard out the front of Buckingham Palace, and then the unicorn got knocked off. I'll throw that in. That's an interesting little thing as well. So they said in the news that some lorry trying to make deliveries, can you imagine, through the front gate, coming through, didn't they do through the tradesman's entrance? But somehow they knocked the unicorn off the shield. And I was looking into the coat of arms, because in Australia it got changed when they removed our constitution. Your mouth goes.
No, for some reason my phone is shaking. I'm wondering if we're having an earthquake, because I didn't move, but my phone just started to shake. Is it her walking by behind me? And I gotta bring her in. You all right, Bob?
Who? She's going, who? So I was looking at different coats of arms, because I know that they changed the government coat of arms when they removed our original constitution. That is the constitution that was set on the 1st of January 1901. That was our Federation Day. But then I was looking at the royal one, and that there is a lion, and then there's a unicorn with a chain around it. And then I was looking a little bit at unicorns, and they represent Scotland. So Scotland has been in chains all this time, and Scotland was what was knocked off the coat of arms. So once they had gone to Windsor, to me it just felt like that was the end. We wouldn't be seeing them again. And then we see the Christmas message, where it's very clearly just a deep fake. Even the BBC was making jokes about it. So it's very easy to put a mask on a body double and make them stand in a funeral.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's have some questions. Let's do it, shall we?
Yes. Let's ask our team. We have a spiritual team, the Serendipity team, and they help us, and specifically in our partnership with this program, with this channel. So let's ask them. First of all, is it planned already, the first arrest? Yeah. Definitely.
A lot of them are planned. A lot of them are done.
A lot of them are done, but the first announced arrest that's going to wake people up, I think it has to be around. Oh, absolutely. Okay. I just got a big.
What did you get?
I got it. It's going to have to do with the whole pandemic thing.
Oh, okay. I got Obama.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So to do with COVID, what is the first arrest to do with? Well, Fauci has to be Fauci, doesn't it?
The face I keep saying is Fauci, 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 Fauci. Now, it could be that I just can't stand this guy's face or his voice. He just like rubs me the wrong way. And I want him to be arrested. But I don't think alive. That's it.
Yeah, it feels to me like the whole pain of this is to leave him in front of the camera all this time. He's there. He's not been taken out. Whereas Gates doesn't feel like he's there anymore. So Fauci would be an obvious choice, a logical choice.
And he looks so miserable all the time. You've got to figure he's hating what they're making him do.
And he knows what's going to happen. He knows he's done like a dinner.
And he's going to be made, he couldn't get away with it. There are some other people that said, all right, we'll take you out of the scene quietly, but you get to like McCain, right?
Yeah. People still think he's a bloody war hero. Shocker.
Yeah, but I don't get that on this Fauci guy because he was way too much involved with way too many stuff.
So there will be people that will be lifted up for the public to hate, and others that just
blame,
get away with
it.
Mm.
And as for a way to see it, to see, wait a minute, as an opening of wait, they arrested him. I saw it on one news channel. Cuomo was arrested with 7, and I couldn't find it anywhere else on any other thing. But his arrest could be imminent. I saw, but he was arrested over the weekend, and one of the charges had to do with his 12-year-old niece. So who knows? But he's going down. We know that for sure. Absolutely. And if they can manage to keep it just for, I don't think they're going to be able to prevent him from dealing with all those deaths. And then that will lead to all the other governors who put patients into nursing homes and cause those deaths.
Including your own one, right? Including your one. Mm.
Well, he's not mine.
The one that resides within your state.
The supposed governor of California. The heart of vomit. I don't know.
Heart of vomit.
I don't know. I made a vomit face. It smells.
I don't even want to think about that.
No. Okay. So, let's go.
So, what is the shot heard around the world? Can we get a feel for what it is?
The sense I get when you said feel, is a lot of shock in people. And huge cognitive dissonance. No, that can't be true. No, that can't be true. That's that no.
But it has to be so blatant.
It has to be worldwide.
They can't argue about it. Yeah, it has to affect everybody.
So that could be pandemic stuff.
No, because it's slightly different in each country. No, it doesn't feel.
A lot of people have said it's going to be crimes against children. That's what unites everyone, but I think that's going to be too shocking. That's too upsetting.
Well, if it's got to affect everybody fairly instantly, you think about the word shot is a description of something that's whoa, like the echo of that's why I thought Ever Given might be used. I really
did think what came to me.
Yeah, they'd be bringing out hundreds of people and stuff, and that would have been a shot, wouldn't it? But
it still can be.
Yeah, it's still sitting there, isn't it? It's not. They're not allowing it to leave.
Mm-mm. Nope, it's going to be salvaged by Egypt, it looks like. So that's fun. But I think that could be a really big one. That was, of course, leads back to a certain female politician for whom that was a code name, which could be part of it. Crimes against children, So
is there any
that
other
feels pretty
suggestion?
good.
Yeah, as to whatever that shot might be.
I just heard it's not what you think it's going to be.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's going to be a surprise for everybody. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to tell us because there's a reason it needs to be a surprise for everyone.
That's right. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
Okay. So let's look at how much of what's going on out in the world right now really is already fully scripted. They've got predictive technology that they can tell exactly what's going to go on. How much of it is scripted? How much of it is still actually being strategized or at least timed? Are we really looking at nothing is real at all? You know what I mean? Like you said, there's still some middle stuff. There's some things that could go one way or the other, or they don't know exactly the outcome. There is still some strategies going on. So I just saw the number 5, and the number 5 to me means there's still some sorting it out, some delays that are happening. And if it was totally scripted, that wouldn't be true. Some of the delays are scripted, are intentional, but some of them are there on a spiritual level, reading the energy of the people, but on a physical level are watching what plays out in the world, keeping track of the signals between the middle managers and the soldiers of the deep state and all of that to see exactly when the timing is going to be right. Because we've all expected things to happen and they didn't happen. It's happened over and over and over again. So, and then in retrospect, we look back and go, of course, it had to be that way. We wanted President Trump to just knock Biden out of there. They inaugurated him and put him in the White House and everything. And we're all like, no, we wanted it. Why? Why did we want that so bad? So this would end. We don't want to be where we are. It's an uncomfortable place. And there's some value to that, being uncomfortable and not knowing.
I'm getting the number 40.
40 days and 40 nights.
No, it's a percentage.
Oh, okay. Of?
I don't know if that means 40% directed and in control or 40% is left to run on its own. I'm not sure which.
I think 60 is in control.
And 40%, that's quite a big lot though. But it feels like, it's like, naughty children running around your backyard, 3-year-olds, like 3-year-olds running around your backyard, that at some point you're going to have to round them all up and bring them in for the party, right? And it doesn't matter which direction they go or however they get there, they're still contained within the backyard. And at some point you will get them all inside. Do you know what I mean? So 40% is still, it's even though that sounds like an awful lot of freedom to give these people, it's not. In the end, they will be rounded up.
Right. So I would say the 40% is not specific. The 60% we've got totally under control. 40% we've got plans ready, things in place for when this happens and so forth. That's fun.
I'm getting the picture of a broody hen with the wings out around the chickens, that if somebody pops out like, oh, I'm gonna hit up. Yeah. Yeah. And that's enough. So 40% freedom is still enough because it's inevitable where we're going.
We need to become comfortable with not knowing.
Trust
your inside, your intuition. How do you feel? Have you shifted recently? We've talked about this for a few weeks. I know so many people who in just the last 3-4 weeks, both of us, that have felt a real shift where it's lighter, it's easier, there's more energy, more motivation, right?
Yeah, enormous, much bigger. You were talking about it being uncomfortable, but it's a bit like a bit like a movie, you know, where you get to that climax point and you're kind of like, oh, I can't get any worse than this. Oh, it's got to, you've got to end up with a happy ending, right? Oh, how on earth are they going to get out with it? That's what it feels like we're in at the moment. So that I know it feels excruciating at the moment. We're all dying to get this over and done with. But once we get past that point, can you remember when you've seen a fantastic movie and you're like, let's go and watch it again? It feels awful in this moment because we're right at that before everything goes hooray, you know.
Yay.
Yeah, so
but
just
the second time
present.
you see it, the second time you see that movie, it's not as exciting.
It's over.
It's not as intense emotionally, right?
This is the present moment.
We're doing, intense emotions can be, it's energy processing through our body, like in that book Initiation by Elizabeth H. If anybody wants to read it, it's a fabulous book. They intentionally ran emotions, joy, the most beautiful joy to the deepest despair, high, low, back and forth at the same time. And they described it as sort of opening up their nerves so they could carry more and more energy, higher frequency stuff. So we don't want to know, because then we don't get these great high emotions that we get to do that and go, woo!
So we have to just be totally present, be completely in the moment and observe it all. That's the thing. That's what's really, really important, because this is really important time. This planet is apparently the first to move from 3D to 5D with live people on it. Usually they clear the planet somehow, and then they'll raise the vibration up and see the species back on the planet again. This is very important. Be here, be present to it all, and don't try and escape.
So I just thought I'd tune into a being, somebody who has lived through, experienced a 3D to 5D shift on their planet. And what was it like? And it's just like this. Right at the end, you're so desperate, and there's part of you is like, okay, we're done. And then the next second, you're like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's going to be like this forever. And that's right before flip. It shifts.
You're saying there is another planet that's done it, that information was wrong?
I don't know. I didn't ask if they did it in physical or not. I just said, because other planets have shifted from 3D to 5D, but like you said, they went off planet. Yeah. So that information may be wrong, because I get the feeling that some went off planet and some didn't. Some could handle it and others couldn't. And that makes sense. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen here too. They'll have to go onto the ship.
Happens. Can you,
if you can't handle
it, are you going to be the kind of person that can handle being on a ship? That's even more crazy.
But keep in mind, when I went up and visited the ship, astral traveling, I got in there and I went, this is just a hospital.
Like right.
Mm-hmm. So they have these things set up so that you're like, oh, what happened? Man, I don't remember. Oh, it's okay. You had a stroke or something happened. We're taking care of you. Yeah. And you're in a regular hospital room, and the noises are the normal, and the people look like Earthlings and all this stuff. So that's how they do it. Mm. And then gradually, with a like med bed and so forth technology and other things that are more spiritual, is what I'm seeing, they can help you shift. But not everybody's going to be able to stay here, because it's just, like I said, they're going to die of radiation sickness, for goodness sakes. Not me.
What I'm getting is just, this idea of, if, some are going and some are staying, that it feels like the first thing that came through to me was one time I went down to a racetrack to watch motorcycles, Ducatis, racing each other, and just the attitude of these guys, gotta go there around here, crash, oh God, but he'll be all right, only 3 broken ribs, let's go again, that's the attitude of the people who will be staying on the planet as we go through this shift, like splat. Yeah, baby, let's. Oh, your body just got destroyed through it. Let's do it
again. Exactly. We're you know, if you're watching this and you're living through this, you're a spiritual warrior. You have been big time, and a very powerful being who is able to maintain your unique frequency regardless of what's thrown at you. So, you know, give yourself a little pat on the back.
Yeah. This is the
Fun.
gift, the present moment for sure. Okay, I think that's probably plenty for today, isn't it?
Yeah. So if anybody has a question you'd like us to look at, put it in the comments. That'd be lots of fun. And, you know, like and subscribe and all that other groovy stuff. It helps the channel. We got a recent little bit of a growth spurt and we're all motivated to keep going. So everything you can do to help, we really appreciate. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.